Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we re-diving deep into a topic that many people find fascinating but often misunderstood. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, more commonly known as the Mormon Church. You might think you know a thing or two about them, maybe from pop culture or headlines, but I guarantee there are some surprising aspects you've never heard of. We're going to uncover 5 shocking truths that challenge common stereotypes and reveal a much more complex picture. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's get started. First up, let's talk about something that gets a lot of attention, their health code. It's called the Word of Wisdom, and it's a set of health guidelines given back in 1833. Now, you've probably heard that Mormons don't drink alcohol, coffee, or tea, and that's true. But here's the shocking part. The original revelation was given not as a strict commandment, but as a word of wisdom and a greeting. It wasn't until the early 20th century, almost 100 years later, that abstaining from these substances became a requirement for entering their temples. The original text also advises against using tobacco, encourages eating herbs, fruits, and grains, and suggests eating meat sparingly, particularly only in times of winter, cold, or famine. This early emphasis on plant-based eating is something many people are surprised to learn about. So, while the no coffee rule is well known, the nuanced history and its focus on holistic health is a much bigger story. It's more than just a list of don'ts. It's a principle for a healthy lifestyle. Alright, moving on to our second surprising truth. When you think of Mormons, you might picture a very specific image. Perhaps someone from Utah or Idaho. But here's the reality check. More than half of all church members live outside the United States. The church is a global faith with a massive international presence. As of recent statistics, there are more members in Latin America, for example, than in Utah, the church's headquarters. Brazil and Mexico each have over 1 million members. The Philippines has a huge and growing population of Latter-day Saints as well. This global diversity means the typical Mormon doesn't really exist. You're just as likely to meet a Latter-day Saint from Sao Paulo or Manila as you are from Salt Lake City. The church is actively translating its materials into hundreds of languages and adapting to a wide variety of cultures. This completely shatters the stereotype of a purely American religion and shows its worldwide reach. Okay, truth number 3 is one that really blows people's minds. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is not just a church. It's a massive financial powerhouse. The exact net worth is kept private, but investigations by news outlets have estimated its wealth, including investments and real estate, to be well over $100 billion. That's billion with a B. This wealth comes primarily from tithing, where members donate 10% of their income and from smart investments managed by the church's investment arm, Ensign Peak Advisors. But here's where it gets even more surprising. The church is one of the largest private landowners in the United States. For instance, they own a massive portion of Florida, including the Deseret Ranches, which is larger than some major cities. They own agricultural land, commercial real estate, and residential properties all over the world. This wealth is used to fund thousands of church buildings, temples, educational programs like Brigham Young University, and a massive global humanitarian aid effort. So, while it's a spiritual organization, it's also operating on the scale of a major multinational corporation. Now, for our fourth point, which is a bit of a historical bombshell for many, let's talk about polygamy. The modern Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints strictly prohibits polygamy and will excommunicate any member who practices it. That's a firm, clear line. However, the shocking truth is that the practice, which they called plural marriage, was essential and divinely commanded part of the early church for about 50 years in the 19th century. It was publicly announced in 1852 after being practiced privately by the founder, Joseph Smith, and other leaders for years. This period is a complex and often painful part of their history. The practice was officially discontinued in 1890 under intense pressure from the U.S. government, which was a condition for Utah to become a state. Today, any groups you see on TV or in the news practicing polygamy and calling themselves Mormon are fundamentalist offshoots that are not affiliated with the mainstream church. The church has been making a real effort in recent years to be more transparent about this difficult part of its past, publishing essays and historical documents to help people understand the full context. Finally, our fifth shocking truth is about their concept of God and our potential. Latter-day Saints have a unique and radical view of the divine. They do not believe in the traditional Christian concept of the Trinity, the idea of God as three persons in one substance. Instead, they believe that God the Father, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Ghost are three separate and distinct beings, perfectly united in purpose. But here's the part that is truly jaw-dropping for many. They believe that God the Father has a physical, perfected body of flesh and bone. And the ultimate goal for humanity? It's to become like God. A well-known couplet in the church is, "As man now is, God once was. As God now is, man may be." This concept, called exaltation or deification, suggests that through faith in Jesus Christ, obedience to commandments, and receiving sacred ordinances, humans have the potential to progress eternally and eventually become divine beings themselves, creators of worlds and gods and goddesses in their own right. This is a profound and deeply aspirational doctrine that sets them apart from nearly all of mainstream Christianity. It's not just about getting to heaven. It's about an infinite journey of growth and progression toward godhood. So there you have it, 5 surprising truths that paint a very different picture of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. From the evolution of their health code and their massive global footprint, to their incredible wealth, complex history with polygamy, and their truly unique doctrine of eternal progression. It's a faith with a lot more depth and complexity than most people realize. Learning about different beliefs helps us understand the world and the people in it a little better. What did you find most surprising? Let me know down in the comments. I read every single one. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this and want to see more deep dives into fascinating topics, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next video.